Hi everyone, it's Brent from PathandTarot. I'm your webmaster. Thanks for watching this video. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to take you on a quick handheld cam tour of my bookshelf. And it's weird because I treat my bookshelf area almost like maybe what you would call a shrine or an altar or something like that. Maybe not too seriously, but I stack the books in a way that I can access them easily, but also the way they stack, I kind of get some sort of visual effect from it, so it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to show you what that looks like and just kind of do a little bit of commentary on the books that I have, why I need them, why I chose them, and how I use them. I have a page on my website, PathandTarot.com, for resources, and all these books are listed there for you to access. They'll have the Amazon links for easy access as well if you decide to get them, or maybe you just want to see, you know, how to get them, I guess. So I've got them there on the page. You can have a look at it. So let's go. Let's do this. We're gonna do this all in one take, by the way. We're gonna grab the camera like this. Oh, all right. Hope you don't get car sick. I mean, motion sickness. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, all right, let's start. So, I've got this little kind of ledge, and beside the ledge I've got a couch. So it's kind of a perfect little spot, actually. I've got this whiteboard and a yoga mat. I take the whiteboard and then I roll the yoga mat over top of it, and it gives me a lot of space to work with the cards. And I'll sit on this couch right here and put this whiteboard on my computer chair, and then I sit right here, and then I play with the cards and consult them and what have you. And it's actually the perfect little spot. And it gives me enough height on the whiteboard to play with the cards. Oh, that's my rug. Really ties the room together. Okay, so we've got my Canon printer. This is kind of like, I'm not sure what to call it. Maybe you could say the keystone of it. I've arranged things kind of by, how do I say it? The size of things, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies, you could say, but this is kind of how I do it. So in this, I've got a little corner here, and so I've got these like plastic, I'm not sure, like paper holders, I guess. I don't know what to really call them, actually, but I store a few board games here that I like to play regularly with friends. And sometimes I use these board games as just to play around with the pieces and sort of maybe craft new ways to do divinity and whatnot. But I store a backgammon board here, and I've got a crib board. And then it's hard to see because of the lighting, because these are both black bags. But in this little pouch, I've got all the backgammon pieces, cups, dice, and all that. And then in this black bag is just it's the Game of Go. It's a travel bag, so it's got the Go board, or it's like a roll-up board. It's like a plastic thing, so it's for travel. And then it's got all the pieces in there. So it's just something I keep it there because I don't know where else to keep it. And then I've got some handkerchiefs in there to. Just if I need them for whatever reason. I don't know why I would need a handkerchief. But anyways, so on top of the Canon printer, there won't be an Amazon link for that. I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll put an Amazon link. I don't know. If I should, tell me in the comments, I guess. So the first books we'll look at are Idiot's Guide to Numerology. Let's see, it's by Gene Simpson. This is a great book. I don't use numerology too much, but I have it as a reference because it's great to know. There's lots of information that you can draw from just numbers. Numbers appear in tarot very regularly, as you already know. So there's information within the numbers, and so learning about that, I think, is important. So I have this as a way to reference how numerology works and how I can use it. So that's why I have this book. The next book is Tarot for Writers by Corinne Kenner. If you can see that there. This is a really great book. This is actually the first book. You can see the cover there. This is the first tarot book I actually ever got, and it has a lot in it. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's a very deep book. But the basis of it is it can show you tarot spreads to use, how to use them, how to apply that to writing in a lot of ways. Say for example you're a fiction writer. That's kind of the example used in here. How can you develop characters by using the tarot cards and telling stories and all that. So this is fantastic. I really enjoy this book. I use it often to reference meanings of the cards. The Universal Tarot by Los Scatterbaro, I hope I pronounced that right. Those are the images used in this book. So if you have that deck, which I do in my collection here, I'll show you in a second. It has all the images, so it harmonizes very nicely, and it has all the meanings written out very well. A lot of information is in that book, so I store that here on top of the numerology book, because I'll use this more. And then the two other books I stack right there like that, right on top, so I can access them easy. So the first book that I would keep here is Easy Lenormand. This is by Marcus Katz and Tally Goodwin. This is Lenormand is great. It's a nice oracle device that gives you different insights that tarot can't provide. The method of using the cards is quite different as well from tarot, so it's a whole new system really, and I think if you're doing tarot, you definitely want to have something like this in your collection. You can have this, how should I explain this? You can use it in conjunction with your tarot cards. Like if you were to say read the Beat the Devil articles that I wrote, this is something you could use as a companion to your Beat the Devil game if you wanted. You could use a tarot deck and a Lenormand deck and work with get different readings from that. But just in itself, just using this alone is fantastic. It gives you a lot of cool information, and it reads very well, very intuitive as well. It's very easy to learn. I would describe this as a syntactical way of doing divinity. That means that the cards are structured in a way that kind of how do I say, it makes its own language. Like combining the cards together creates more meaning. So that's kind of cool. So you use a lot of the more cards you use, the more information you have. And I think that's interesting. That's a little bit different than how you would use tarot cards. You would do a 3-card reading in tarot, or you would select a few different cards. But there's lots of other ways to do tarot. It's not the only way, of course. But when I was first playing with that was kind of a departure for me, working with certain card spreads. Using the Lenormand cards and the Grand Tableau was very interesting. It was I would say liberating, actually, because you're using all of the cards and trying to find meaning through a lot of cards. And the next book I keep for quick access. I don't know if you can see this because of the light. Russian Gypsy Fortune-Telling Cards by Svetlana Alexandrovna Tukov. Oh, I ate that whole thing for breakfast, my goodness. Sorry, can't pronounce your name. But this is actually one of my favorites to use as an oracle card. That's kind of like it's like I see it as like an alternative divinity system compared to tarot. So it has its own way of using the cards. It reminds me of the Lenormand system, so I keep them both kind of together. They share similar imagery, and some of the cards have even similar meanings too. So I use them together a lot of the time. I'll do a reading with the Gypsy cards, and then I'll do a reading with this, and I'll ask for clarification, usually with this, to find out more. And I get a lot of good readings from it. There's some very uncanny things that happen. So these are two valuable books that I like to keep on hand, so I stack them just kind of like this, and that's how I do it. Actually, I'll flip it over because it's, yeah, there you go. Anyways, okay, so then I keep a notepad here. It's small, so it's like quick if I want to write a note. And then I've got a binder right here, which is for longer form notes. And then that kind of makes up this little square chunk here, and I keep a calendar. That's not too important, but it's here. I like having a calendar because I can visually see the month. This is just a handkerchief that I think looks aesthetically pleasing, so I keep it there. I got a poppy. Yeah, okay, so that's the corner, and then this is kind of the bulk of the what do we say, shrine, book altar. Yeah, let's call it that. So I've got underneath here is just a magazine. This is Adbusters, actually, locally in Vancouver. Great magazine. It doesn't really have any bearing on the books. It's just I store that magazine there. And so I have the Book of Runes by Ralph H. Blum. I'm getting more into runes. I actually have a prototype deck here of rune cards that I'm going to be working on in the new year. So I've got a little pouch that hangs off this corner here. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about this piece of wood, because it also acts as a keystone to this whole kind of book altar, shrine thing, whatever we want to declare it as. It's actually from my desk. It's supposed to be a keyboard thing that pulls out, but it fell apart, and I didn't really want to throw it away, so I guess I reappropriated it into this. And so in the corner I've got the two bookshelves, and then the cork board, and then this is over top of it, and it's just pushed right up against the thing, so you could actually see it right here in the corner. That's like I don't know, it's like a backing of it, and it keeps this secure. I'm actually pulling on it, so it's not going anywhere, so that's nice. This would fall down, otherwise I have to secure it some way. So this is actually, it's like bracing and keeping everything together. But the nice thing about this is that it's creating a corner for me to stack all these books, because behind this is a window, so I can't really push things up against it. So this gives me a back so I can push these books up against, and it kind of helps organize things. Kind of a weird way to do it, I guess, but I don't know. I didn't want to throw it away. I guess I wanted to reuse it. So I've got that little pouch. This is neat. Again, like I said, I'm storing this rune deck here. It's like a prototype thing that I'm working on. And then I've got this little paper clip thing. I've got the rules to the crib game here, and then within the rules I've got. Actually, I'll take it apart so you can see. Oh no, I can't. I'm not gonna do that. I've got the French tarot rules, and then I've got the guidebook for the Aleister Crowley deck. And then the Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial deck, just the guidebooks that come with it, and then the extra cards that come with it too. So just I keep them here as like a little clip, if you can see that. Just if I ever need to access them. I don't really need to use them that much, because the meanings of the cards translate across different decks in some cases. But I may access the Crowley one, which is right here, if I need to know a little bit more about it, because the Crowley deck, the Thoth deck, I guess you can call it that. The meaning is different. There's cards are called different things, and they have different meaning as such. So I would So that's why I would keep it right here, so if I need to get access to it, it's right there. And so that's it. But it's kind of cool. Like, look, it kind of dangles a little bit. So it's sort of aesthetically pleasing. Anyways, okay, so we've got the rune book. I've got right here The Lost Zodiac by Catherine Tennant. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to pull it out because I still want to show you how the stack is. But again, if you need to, you can look down. And there's a link for my website that has all these books written out with name, and it's actually the full citation of it. And then there'll be links to Amazon, my associate links. So if you want to pick them up, you can. It's just an easy way for you to get access to the books if you wanted to order them. So yeah. Okay. So back to The Lost Zodiac. That I don't use it too much, but it was a great thing to pick up. I got that in a used bookstore, and it talks about, I guess you could say it's like an alternative zodiac explanation, and that ties into the astrology book that I have in my collection called Discovering Your Soul Mission by Linda Brady and Evan St. Lifer. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. That was a really cool book. I don't use astrology too much in tarot readings that I do, but again, like I have the numerology book, I have a few astrology books as reference, just in case I need to look at anything, or maybe I need to know something specific, and I can use these two books to help with that. But another cool thing about The Lost Zodiac is in this box is these, they're like paper, they're like the size of this book actually. It's like a diagram of the constellation. So that's actually pretty cool, so you can actually pull these out and play with it. And then the next book I have is the Necronomicon. Ooh, scary. That actually was a scary book when I read it. Weird, like when I first bought the book and brought it home and started to read it, a lot of electronics in my house started to fail, like immediately. My light went out in the bathroom, and then other things started to kind of fall apart. It was, I'm sure it's just coincidence and all that. I don't really have too much of an opinion on the paranormal stuff. I mean, maybe there's something to it, but I don't want to make a judgment on camera here because I'm not an expert by any means. But yeah, like when I brought the book home, like my light started to go out. The bathroom light started to flicker. My ceiling fan failed, so I had to replace a light bulb and the ceiling fan at the same time right after I bought the Necronomicon book. So it was just kind of spooky, I guess. Because I was reading through the book and I'm just thinking like, oh man, like am I evoking evil spirits here or what? But another thing to say is in the Necronomicon there is a section called the 50 Names of Marduk, and I found that to be very interesting because when you have a large number of how do I say it? Almost divine explanations of entities or spirits, because tarot. We'll just kind of jump away from this for a second and talk about tarot. With tarot, you've got archetypes and things like that can help explain questions. But with the 50 Names of Marduk, they kind of act like their own individual archetypal entities. So I found that reading through the 50 Names of Marduk, there was patterns that emerge that are similar to how, say, the minor and major arcana work, right? You've got the 0 to 21 in the tarot, which is, you've got like the Fool, Magician, High Priestess, and all that. So they have their own archetypal meanings. And I found that the 50 Names of Marduk was kind of, there's patterns like that. I don't really, I don't have it all completely fleshed out. I haven't really done too much work with that to tell you more, but it's just at my first impression when I was reading it, that's kind of what I was thinking, and I found it really interesting when I was reading that book. So that's, if you're wondering, hey, well, why would I have the Necronomicon? Like, I don't practice black magic or whatever or anything. Why would I even have it? I would get it for that reason, is to learn about the 50 names of Marduk. They have their own seagulls, or symbols, I guess you could say. And because there's 50 of them, they could make for an interesting divinity system, perhaps. I don't know. I'm giving you some free tips here. So there you go. Now, right above that is, and if you can see it, I Ching by Raymond Van Over. He is the editor of this book that contains excerpts from James Leakey, who was... I've got to do my history here. So James Leakey is I believe he's a translator of ancient Chinese texts. So he was one of the first, actually I don't know if he's the first, I shouldn't say that. He was, I guess we could say he's well known for translating the I Ching into a different language from the Chinese culture, I guess we could say that. And so Raymond Van Over he acted as an editor to re-edit James Leakey's words and put his own spin on it. And reorganizing the book as well I found was really, really important, because the original text was hard to read and hard to access and find the information you're looking for, whereas this book, you can easily access the information, and it's well organized. So if you're getting into I Ching and you have an interest in that, this is a really good book to have. It's fairly old. It's from the 70s, I believe. It may or may not be in print, but it is actually in print. So I found it on Amazon, and I have a link for it on my resources pages. So you can still get that book. But I guess any I Ching book would do as well, because the meaning for each of the hexagrams are fairly universal. Like each editor is going to have maybe their own spin on it, you could say, but the general meaning of each hexagram is fairly consistent. So if you can't find this book for whatever reason, or you don't want to get this book, maybe you don't want it, any other book, I think, would be a good addition to your divinity, occult, tarot selection of books. So this is the one I have for using I Ching, and I like it a lot. I just finished it recently, so it's great to have. And then I've got here the Kim Cran's The Wild Unknown, Animal Spirit, Tarot, and then the Archetypes. So I've arranged these books in a way that I can... Here, actually, instead of talking about it, I'll just show you. I can just grab it. Oh, like that. So I have the book set up so that I can just grab them all in one. So that's why there's this, like, I guess there's like this gap here, so it's not exactly all lining up. And that's kind of on purpose, so I can grab this and take the cards over to a desk, or use my whiteboard to play with them. So this is the archetype deck. It's circular. Fantastic. I did an unboxing for this. You can watch the video on my page there. And then this is the Wild Unknown Tarot. This is the Animal Spirit. So I use these three the most when I'm doing readings, and I use them together. Actually, I use all three of them in a reading. It's fairly robust. It's kind of difficult. I'm still trying to figure out how these three work together, but they definitely do. Like I feel like they're meant to be used together. I mean, for obvious reasons. It's the same author, of course, and you've got the tarot, and then two different types of oracle-based systems. The archetype system is totally different than the animal spirit system, which has elemental dignities like earth, wind, fire, and all that. So you've got three different systems, basically, of divinity with these 3 decks. So I think if you were to start up a tarot collection, these 3 are just, I think it's almost a must-have in a way. So that's how I keep these decks. And here I'm just going to show you a little Easter egg here. I'll take these. See, that's why I keep them like that, so I can just with one hand, boom, I can grab them all at once and take them where I need to. So behind this, I have the Book of Revelations by King James and Your Guide to Tarot by, who's this by? Janet Barres. Sorry if I mispronounced that. So this book actually came as a beginner's tarot kit with the Universal Tarot, which is featured in the Corinne Kenner book. So when I got this book first, and then I got the Universal Tarot, and I thought that's a nice collection to have. So yeah, back to the Book of Revelations. Why do I have this? Well, I'm not really sure. I read Hunter S. Thompson a lot, and he suggested that if you're going to be a writer, you need to read the Book of Revelations and have it on hand to access quotes. And my goodness, there are some striking quotes in that book. So I guess that's why I have it too. So monkey see, monkey do. Monkey put a spell on you. So Book of Revelation. So yeah, I have that, and it fits nicely behind all these books as well too, because I don't use them too much, but I want them at least where I can easily find them instead of going to my bookshelf and trying to hunt them down that way. So actually, you know what, we can, now that we were talking about tarot and what to get maybe as a beginner package, you've got the Wild Unknown as like a package, 3 different decks. But another good starter deck would be this, which is your beginner's kit. You would get this book and the Universal Tarot deck, and then I would get this book, the Tarot for Writers. You would have 2 sources of guidebook information for the cards themselves. This book has spread ideas and ways to use the cards, so that would be a fantastic introduction to cards to your first tarot deck. So either of them I think would be fantastic. You may want to it's hard. Maybe the starting off with this would be a good idea because of the the cards are easier to read. I think the meanings are more consistent because this taps into the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition of cards, whereas this it's kind of its own thing in a way. So it's taken a lot longer for me to understand fully the meaning of these types of cards, but once you get it, it's good. Like you're gonna learn it and take time with it, and you'll figure it out. But I find that the Rider-Waite-Smith system is a little bit more easy to get into, I guess, because the meanings are fairly consistent, I guess you could say, whereas this is sort of Kim Kranz's own invention, so it's fairly unique, and that obviously has its strong benefits, but I think it creates a higher threshold for someone to get into tarot. But anyways, that's kind of my take on kind of in the middle of this whole thing, what deck you should choose. So those are 2 good options, and they're both on my resources page too that you can look at. So yeah, have a look for yourself. So let's pan out a bit and let's see the whole thing. It's kind of cool. So you've got this like little corner, and I could build that in any corner if I was to go somewhere else. I would just find a corner and set up the cork board, have that I don't even know what to call it, like a keyboard thing. Slide that in, put the bookshelf holder things in there, slide in my Canon printer. Well, what would a printer be used for? I don't know. I mean, printers, it's a scanner as well too, so it can scan things and print off stuff. I don't print a lot of things these days, but I keep it here. I keep the books on top of it, and then the books I have in this corner are there for easy access. So I guess that I'm not really sure if this is an altar or a shrine. I should do more research into the terminology of it. But there you have it. It's like a kind of like a book stack that I've arranged so that I can get access to everything I need. Grab that. Grab that. I don't have a stack too high because I can grab whatever I need. And then I got my notebooks. There we have it. So that's the tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Comment below if you have any questions, or you can go to my website. You can sign up for my mailing list if you want, so I can give you an update. Or just go to my Twitter page too. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll get updates there as well. So that's probably a better option. Don't worry about the email list. Just follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm even on TikTok with PathandTarot too. So it's just at PathandTarot. So you can follow me on any of those platforms. I post fairly regularly, so that you'll be well up on any new things that are coming out. In the new year, I'm probably going to be working on like a rune deck. That'll be fun. I think that'll be a good project, and then I can use the Book of Runes text to kind of corroborate information from Wikipedia and other sources. It'll be a neat project. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But it's just something I'm going to be doing for the new year. So there we go. That's the whole deal. That's my bookshelf, altar, tarot deck, and one last thing before we go. This is my secret collection of other tarot decks. I don't know if I can show you because of copyright stuff. I don't know how the copyright system works. Whatever. So this is a repurposed backgammon board that I just stripped of the place. I don't know what to call it. They had like plastic inserts, but this is where I keep. Oh, you can't see that. That's a prototype deck. So this is where I would keep all my other decks too. Yeah, I don't know if I'll get in trouble showing you this, but anyways, I'm not going to show you the cards. Just you can see how they get arranged. So this is where I keep other cards. So this is the Cloisters, the Gypsy cards. This is Universal Tarot, French Tarot, Centennial, the Thoth deck, Lenormand playing cards. This is the James Yeager Tarot Meditations, which is out of print, and then close it. Slide it back in. Whew, secret. Alright, cool. Well, hope you had fun. I had fun. That was great talking with you. And I'll see you around.